Excellent afternoon, viewers. When it comes to real issues, topics of real concern, and real situation in the Nigerian system, you can count on Real Talk with Kike to bring you all the real sides of the matter with Real Talk. I'm Kike Lomatondao, and you are on to Real Talk with Kike. And one tree doesn't make up the forest.
Absolutely.
As usual, I have with me my exciting, opinionated co-host that we all have touch of red in us. How you doing, Dami? Let me start with you, Dami.
We're already in it away. Hi, hello viewers from wherever you're watching us. You know that this is Real Talk with Kike, where we keep it real, precise, concise, simple, and up to date. My name is Damlola Banere, and it's another exciting pleasure to be here with you. Please stay with us. We just started.
Of course.
Hello, Kike. Hello, Kike. It's good to see you again. Damilola, it's good to see you first time this month. Damilola.
The months we are squeezing the month already. I've almost finished.
Hello, viewer. It's good to have you with us again. Welcome to Real Talk with Kike. So keep it real with us today.
Different days with different stories in the Nigerian history. Let's see what Nigeria has for us in history with our On This Day in History segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On this day in history, 19th of August 2015, exactly 6 years ago, scores of bushmeat sellers marched to Governor Abiola Ajimobi's office at the Oyo State Secretariat, Ibadan, complaining of low patronage due to the outbreak of Ebola disease. The women under the aegis of Bushmeat Sellers Association lamented that since the announcement that the deadly virus could be transmitted by eating bushmeat, spell had been cast on their sales.
Yeah, Dami, on this day in history, exactly 6 years ago, what do you have to say to this?
From what I clued together, Ebola totally came in about December 26, 2013, and of course the last eradication was on the 9th of June in 2016, which was averagely about 3 years. So I think whatever happened 6 years back, I will say it was, I will put it under lack of knowledge. Because if the coalition of bushmeat sellers felt that, because Ebola ruined their business, they didn't think of the other lives that Ebola had ruined. They thought about just their business, just their income. It's not too good for us to think of us, us, us. If God wanted individual persons to be on this earth, I think he will not create a number of people. It's about you and I collectively. So when you're thinking about what affects you, it's also good for you to think about what affects other people. If 20 people are complaining that something affects them and a larger number of 200 people are also complaining that this thing, the aftermath effect, will come back to them, let's weigh 20 over 200 now and let's see the balance. I think this is where Nigerians really need to make a paradigm shift on decisions.
Oh, for the Ebola scare, that was quite scary when it came on. You know, I think it was just inevitable on the part of the government, you know, to stop the sale of bushmeat. Well, of course, I know a lot of people loved bushmeat at the time. I'm sure they still do up till now, you know. And since studies showed that animals were carriers of the disease, so it was just inevitable for the government to put a ban on the sale of bushmeat at the time. So if the sellers of the meat, you know, were complaining, hey, that was their livelihood. So if you're putting an end to their livelihood, you provide an alternative for them. So, well, I think it's just lessons learned. And going forward, I'm sure we will do better.
All right, many thanks for that, for my two co-hosts. I think for me, what I want to take is just to come from the angle of the Ajimobi's administration, because I'm sure you all know that he was a father to me. He's a family friend to my family, and you know, meeting him through my dad, you know, and he played a lot of role when it comes to ZED as well, you know. And I remember how most times when it comes to challenges of policies of his administration, he takes it to heart, you know. And I remember one of this as well. I just pray that God should continue to give him peace, and may so continue to rest in peace. Amen. And all those people who were complaining at the time, you know, I can say that everybody, at the time, that the people that were complaining, now they are in power and they can see what happens when citizens come to them. And I think that we should be fair at ourselves, both the government, both the citizens, and look for how we can come together and look for a better solution
Balance.
to issues. Because on the show today, I have the privilege of bringing you an exclusive live interview courtesy Road Talk with Cricket that was granted by the DG of National Lottery Regulatory Commission, that's the NLRC. And before we go into the interview proper, let's take a quick look at his profile. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Let's go straight to the clip of the interview. Stay tuned and let's see what he has to say. All right, excellent afternoon, viewers. For those who are watching us across the world, my name remains Kikelo Matondao. And remember that we always bring you closer to decision makers and industry navigators in the country. And this edition is no different from the previous one we've been handling. Of course, our guest today is the current Director General of the National Lottery Regulation Commission, that's NLRC, and his name is Mr. Larry Gbajabiamila. You're welcome, sir. Many thanks for creating time to do this with us, and of course, I'm honored. Of course, you are host today because you are not in the studio, so we're at your reception.
Right, right. That's why I'm saying that you're more than welcome.
Many thanks, sir, for having us. So let's just dive straight to the discussion, because I know that time is of the essence for you and I, let me to be precise. So my first question to you, sir, is that I know that the NLRC was established to oversee and regulate the lottery and gaming industry in Nigeria. And I want to ask you, sir, how have you been able to measure your commission's contribution in Nigeria when in terms of GDP over the years since inception in 2005?
Right. Thank you for that question, and it's good to have you here. The commission has thrived to improve over time since inception, particularly since I've been at the helm of office since late 2017. The commission has grown in terms of its revenue base. Previously, we were generating a little bit over 500,000. And since coming into office, my first year, we went over 1 billion. And the growth has been consistent over the years. And we've seen the growth, we've seen new innovative, we've seen a lot of attraction in the industry. And hence why we've seen a lot of growth in our revenue base. But like I've always said, there's always room for improvement. So to answer your question, we've grown, we've added towards the GDP, but we do hope that we will have more revenue for the country to use for good causes.
All right, many thanks for that submission. Listening to you and you're talking about growth, I know that the commission, like you've said, I've constantly worked on actualization in terms of central monetization system, that's the CMS, the CMS platform to promote accountability, transparency in the gaming sector.
Correct.
So my question is, how do you want to drive this compliance from gaming operators and ensuring real-time monitoring with the system, knowing that there are a lot of loopholes in the system today?
Right. The key question is the loophole that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's why we need a central monitoring system. Because with the central monitoring system, you are able to have all the operators connect, either sports betting, either lottery, and even the vast providers, the value-added services providers in the ecosystem of lottery. So when they're all connected to the same central monitoring system, we're able to see real-time online, what transactions are being made. And hence we'll be able to deduct that from the taxes they're supposed to be paying out to government, for good causes. So the loophole has been blocked with that because presently we don't have that. Okay. So we go by what they present to us in terms of their financial report. But as we all know, financial report cannot be 100% accurate or transparent. So the best solution is what we're going to be implementing by God's grace before the end of the year, which will be the central monitoring system.
All right. Many thanks again for that. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, and that's what you'll be doing by the end of the year, because I know that your commission plans to launch the maiden edition of Nigerian national game to promote local games and enhance greater causes for national development. But sir, I want you to tell our viewers that, enlighten them more about this project. What does your office intend to achieve in terms of progress, knowing that on every street, I want to tailor it down to Lagos, on every street of Lagos, whether it is local or the eyebrow, Lekki and all of that, you will see all these people trying to play, lottery game and all of that. How do you want to follow through with this progress?
Yes, it's interesting, and it's something that the commission has looked at over the years. Okay. In fact, over decades, the game being played in Nigeria, especially the lottery, is mostly foreign games. Yeah. Foreign games, and to be precise, Ghana game. That's the most popular foreign game in Nigeria. And this has been going on for over a decade, almost 2 decades now. And since the industry has grown, we just felt that, with a population of over close to 100 million Nigerians, playing this game, and we felt that we should have something owned by Nigerians, played by Nigerians, for Nigerians.
Absolutely.
Right. So hence why the national game will be a pride for Nigerians to play and participate. And we're not saying that we're not going to use the foreign, Nigerians are not allowed to play the foreign games anymore, but we're just saying that, it should just be a bouquet. Just like when you go to a restaurant, you have a buffet of all types of things to choose from. So the Nigerian game is part of the buffet as well, so to speak. Part of the games that players can now choose to play as well. And we have the numbers, we have the population, and we believe that it's about time Nigeria should be seen to have its own national game, and that's why we're looking at having our own national game launched. And once we launch that, it rolls down to become another source of revenue, generating revenue for the government, because there'll be more participation, and the operators will now key into it, and they'll too be selling the particular games, the Nigerian games as well. And it's going to be very transparent. It's going to be televised. Each draw will be televised on the national NTA. There'll be transparency. There'll be auditors will be there. The commission will be there. So we go have a lot. Even the anti-graft agencies will be there, just to make sure it's accepted. Our culture. We don't want anybody to have a doubt. And hence why we need to make it very transparent, and so that everybody will participate and enjoy the game. So we're looking forward to that. And the operators are also looking forward to that, because we need our own game.
All right, fantastic operation, I must say. But I must ask you, sir, because this is like a follow-up question to what you just shared now, that in all of this, the youth of today, they seem to be more aligned with I want to get rich quick when it comes to lottery. Is there a way that it has something intertwined into something that is going to be educative for younger generation to pick something for us to start changing the narrative when it comes to lottery?
Yeah, I mentioned what I can align to you, what you just asked me, is the good causes. Part of what we use for good causes is revenues generated from lottery. As the world best practices, lottery funds are used for certain sectors. Where just like in Nigeria, health, sports, education, and disaster areas, or as prescribed by Mr. President, according to the Lottery Act. So, in terms of the youth, they can be gainfully employed. There's the education aspect. Funds can be used, diverted for education, to improve our education system, to improve our health system as well. And so it also employs, the operators are able to employ, Nigerians, in terms of them to be gainfully employed, because lottery, a lot of look at lottery as gambling.
Exactly.
Yeah, gambling. But to me, to the commission, it's a form of entertainment. It's that's why we tend to call it gaming. And the way I also look at it, that even if you don't win anything, you're also contributing your own quota
To the country.
Right. So it's a win-win situation at the end of the day. So the youth can be gainfully employed. And then we see a lot of youth, especially, lottery and gaming is now being driven by technology.
Yes.
And I've seen, from reports that a lot of youth are now gainfully employed, because, a lot of youth are now technology savvy more than, when I was growing up. So
Absolutely.
you see that. So I see my operators employing a lot of youth into this industry, and they participate. They develop software. They develop a lot of things, in order to enhance the industry. So the youth are being, are gaining something out of it, and but also we also as a regulator, we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible. Make sure that
taking ownership in terms of the regulations,
right, and not making sure, trying to avoid the youth, especially the underage, from participating in the industry. So that's what we call responsible game, underage gaming. And then we also have the responsible gaming, whereby we're able to manage. We don't want to build a nation of so to speak gamblers. So they all be addicted. So that's what we call responsible gaming as well. So the commission, being a responsible regulator, make sure that we balance this out by interfacing with our operator closely, and also by giving them rules and regulations and terms and conditions for their license on certain things that they cannot do. Especially when it comes to underage. You cannot sell to an underage. There's an age limit. You cannot have school children in your betting shops. And so forth and so much. Also, and then we have our monitoring and enforcement unit that make sure that such terms are being complied to according to the rules of engagement.
Many thanks again for that. So the repositioning the game industry for better performance, that is the theme of the recently concluded National Gaming Conference that took place in Lagos a few weeks ago. So I must ask you, sir, could you please, appraise the gains of the conference with regards to the expectations of the commission as well as the government in terms of how they collaborate together to add value to the society?
Yeah. That was a first of its kind for the nation. And I believe you were there as well.
Yeah,
I saw a glimpse of you.
Yeah.
And we were pleased with it. We got a good feedback from stakeholders, participants, both from within and outside the shores of Nigeria, Europe, US, because we were able to zoom in, because you could zoom in through or watch it through our YouTube channels. So what we got out of there was a better understanding of the industry from the operator's point of view, from the regulator's point of view, from the tax man, as well, in terms of
Consumers.
consumers. It was like a training and development for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that all the narratives that were out there before were taken care of at that with that platform. So what we got out of there was also a communique was developed from the panelists and from participants. We intend to benchmark and work towards that. Most important, we need to have a better understanding between the state regulators and the National Lottery Regulatory Commission. To have an understanding that each roles are different. And I keep saying it's not to shortchange any state. At the end of the day, we're all talking about revenues, right? Which is understandable, considering what COVID has done and COVID, the economies are this side. But we should also have to understand that there are certain things that the state cannot do, that the national regulator can do. Because I said earlier, my interview with you, that the industry has grown. It's no longer a paper coupon, it's not another point of sales anymore. It has now evolved into other devices, even your mobile phones, the internet, the web, and all that. How can a state regulate that? The state cannot regulate that. It's a federal. It's a national thing. That's why we have the NCC, the National Communication Commission, which we have an MOU with, and they can only have an MOU with a federal agency. We have NICTA in terms of remote gaming, where we have all these foreign betting operators coming into our space. Our local players are taking bets without any recourse from the operator to government. So with NICTA, who handles all the protocol of the web, of internet, and all that, they're able to checkmate them. And I can keep going on about all other agencies that we are working with. The NFIU transactions, been going on, from far and within. We've collaborated with them. Hence, why the state regulators have to come together to work with the Lottery Commission, so we can have a win-win situation. And that way, the operators are not seen as to be in the middle of all these states and federal, where we can just have our own individual responsibilities to ourselves and to the nation as a whole. So I think this is something that it's very dear to me, because I started my regulatory responsibilities from Lagos State. I was in Lagos for almost 10 years, or 15 or more, as Lagos State Lotteries Board CEO. So I understand. I understand, what has to be done. And I just hope our state regulators will cooperate and come together and let it be a win-win situation for the industry, because this is our industry. We mustn't allow it to fail.
Fantastic submission.
Yeah.
And I think because I was present as they just concluded National Gaming Conference in Lagos, I must share with you that most of the feedback I got, the testimony that I took away from the conference was about you putting structure in place, which I know that's part of the challenges that we are facing in our country, in every sectors of the state. I don't want to tailor it down to anybody, and I must say that you've done wonderfully well with that. And it's not just about, because I know that there are a lot of whatever that goes on behind closed doors. I think you should be familiar with that. But I try to engage other people behind closed doors after the event to just pick their brains and say, okay, who is this man? What are the value you think that he has contributed to the National Lottery Body? And I'm glad that you mentioned now that you were serving for 10 years in Lagos before you came here now in Abuja, and you've been doing wonderfully well.
Thank you.
And I must say that many thanks for that, at least contributing to the growth of the society with that. But for those who are listening to us, who do not understand how to go through this lottery, how to go through this structure, or where to go to, for those who want to say that, okay, I want to take this as a line of business, where do you think, will you advise them to go? Where are the channels that they can go to, knowing that they are not going to be collecting riba? You know what I mean? Behind closed doors.
Right.
Yeah, please educate our people.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. If you want to start a business and it's a governmental regulated business, you go to the regulator.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your first part of call. You go to the regulator. Even if you have information from outside, you can hold on to that. I'm not saying it won't be true. It might be true, but for better confirmation and all, you can come. You can come to the regulator. And we keep an open door policy. We have a good staff. That understands the industry in terms of licensing and operations. Both either lottery, call lottery, or sports betting, or even any other games of chance. We have adequate staff to assist them. So I don't think there should be any problem. But my advice is to always go to your regulator, because there are a lot of people that say, "Oh, we consult for Lagos State, we consult for the
And get all your documentations.
and at the end of the day, you don't get it right. So I would advise, even if it's Lagos State you want to go to, see the Lagos State Lotteries Board, go there yourself and apply, just like you come here and apply straight to the regulator.
All right. Many thanks again for emphasizing on that. Earlier when you were talking, you spoke about the regulations, and I think that I wanted to ensure that those who are going to be participating in the gaming operators do not indulge underage children.
Right.
Because I know that that's part of the challenges that we are facing today when you look at our youth. So these operators, after profit, I feel that most of the time they don't really care.
Correct.
They don't care in the sense that wherever the source of funds is coming from.
You're in for the business.
Yeah, in for the business. So my question now to you, sir, is what is the agency doing in this regard? And is policing an option for this type of regulation going forward with what you're about to project at the end of the year?
Yeah, as a regulator, it's a combination of all what you've mentioned. We've redefined our terms and conditions to include underage participation in the gaming, and which it comes with a fine.
Okay.
Which could also result into revocation of license or suspension of license, as the case may be. And apart from that, we also have something that we normally do on what we call on the spot check, where our monitoring and enforcement department units, go to shops, betting shops, lottery operators, and just go there unannounced. That's what's called on the spot check, without you knowing that we're coming. And all we need to do is just, we don't even need to confront the operators, because monitoring and enforcement, within their age, they just take pictures, of another age at your shop or at your establishment, and then we invite you to the office. What do you have to say to this? We have evidence. We've done that a few times, and I think it's a continuous thing. Because of the kind of society we live in.
But do you think that the parents need some level of reorientation to be able to help to guide their children?
Yes, the charity begins at home.
Yeah.
Well, how much can a parent, do? But yes, we encourage the operators to make sure that they have advertisements. Especially they need to talk to their agents, because the agents work for the operators. But we don't. If we go there, we find an underage person playing, we don't go after the agent, because the agent is acting on behalf of the operator. So it's our operator that we go after. So it flows down the ladder. So the operator will now be the one to educate their agents that if you do this, blah blah, there are consequences for that. So they now pass it on, and we in our own part, we can only do adverts, we can only do campaigns, which we've been doing the last few years.
Raising awareness.
Yes, we've done campaigns in the past, and we'll continue to do that. That way, hopefully, the parents will hear about our campaigns, and they'll be able to let their kids know, and that this is not part of what they should be doing at this time of their age.
Many thanks for that. I think
Right.
that if I did not ask you this last question before we wrap up this interview, my interview is not here. This is that on a lighter note, I know that the name Gbajabiamila is a name to reckon with, is a household name in Nigeria. So it went in terms of fame, in terms of integrity, and all of that. So I must ask you, sir, what are your future plans in terms of politics, governance, your retired plans, what do you envision when it comes to retirement plan? And do you see yourself going into politics or governance, knowing that the name Gbajabiamila is a household name when it comes to fame, when it comes to integrity, when it comes to a name that people have come to reckon with in terms of value?
That's a very interesting question. I need to think about that because the name comes with a lot of good, more of good than bad.
Yes.
Right. So, and I see myself as a technocrat.
Okay.
But never say never.
Absolutely.
I leave everything to Almighty Allah to decide on the way, on the path He wants me to take. But for now, I enjoy what I'm doing. After my tenure is over, I don't know what will what the future holds, but I'm sure I'll be able to take where the future holds for me. I'll be able to do well.
All right, many thanks for that, sir.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you so much for opening your doors to us. On this note, this is where we wrap up.
I think that this interview for me just makes me reckon more with him in terms of repositioning the gaming industry for a better performance when it comes to carrying the stakeholders, carrying the youth, because I know that the youth of today, they are in the forefront and they are lending their voices, especially when it comes to politics, when it comes to governance, when it comes to lottery and, and all sorts. And it's someone that I like the fact that, he has actually giving an open door policy to people. I know part of the challenges that we've been facing in our country today is the fact that many people cannot go into the office of our leaders, those who are in power, and that is what I admire about him. And it's not just because I reckon with him. These are things that I would have done a bit of research and trying to hear from other people in terms of feedback of one's character. Power of character for me is very important when it comes to somebody holding that position of power, and it's one person that I must give it up for, regardless of whatever information that is out there. He's been doing wonderfully well, and I must commend him for his good works. Dami, thus far, what's your take with everything that we've seen or we've heard from him in terms of the lottery board, knowing that he started from Lagos for 10 years being the CEO of the board, before transitioning to federal government? I think at least that will bring a lot of synergy when it comes to decision making between the state and the federal. I think that if he had done perfectly well in the state, that was what earned him the federal seat, and which he has carried on that same garment of responsibility. And like you said, a lot of our public officers, when it comes to accountability, or let's even hear from you, let's hear your side of the story. They said there are two sides to every story. They shut their doors. At the end of the day, they begin to agitate that a lot of rumors are going out against them. When we came to knock on your door, when people come to knock on your door, your constituency member or people that are in affiliation with your office, we believe that this thing is dialogue. Whatever happened at that during the interview was a dialogue. If he did not tell us his side of the story, we wouldn't even be aware of the great things that the commission is actually doing. We wouldn't know the benefits that they have brought in terms of regulation, in terms of synergizing all stakeholders together, and in terms of also looking at how young children or underage will not be in the gaming system.
All right. Many thanks for that, Dami. Let me use this opportunity to open our phone line. Don't forget that you can be part of this conversation by calling our studio number 080-988-77400. It's showing on your screen right now. And also make comments on our social media platform on Real Talk with Kike. And of course, remember that we are streaming live on YouTube page on Real Talk with Kike, and of course on Silverbird Television, the #1 station that you can be so sure that you will get the right thing. Hey, what's your take on this?
Kike, when I was listening to that interview, I went like, can it be true? Is this Kike? Kike look cool, bye. I was like, my kids. Kike Farabale. And she was like, okay, maybe going forward, maybe we have to do all our interviews from Abuja. Kike, that was a
I'm
nice
sure that
one.
there was a reason behind it.
No, but
There's
it's
no
okay.
reason.
It's okay.
I'm with a gentleman. I have to behave like a gentleman. And I'm not there to attack.
See what I'm talking
not
about?
there.
No, no.
It's doing wonderful well.
She's
What
back
do
to
you
Lagos
expect?
again.
What do you
You
expect?
see what we're
Lagos is full
saying?
of
Oh, yes.
Adeoyezim. It's our
Anyway.
style. When you come to Lagos, you have to roll.
Anyway, Kike, that was a nice one. That was really good. It was very enlightening. And for another thing, it's brought it back home to see that we have a regulatory commission, you know, who are abreast with their duties, you know, and they're monitoring their operators, and it's trickling down to the, you know, the operators' agents.
Yes.
You know, I think that was a note of interest for me, because in the first place, like Kike said in one part of the interview, you find all these lottery shops on the street corners everywhere in Lagos.
Absolutely.
So I was wondering, I said, how is it possible for the commission to regulate the activities of these people? But I think Mr. Lanre Gbajabiamila, you know, has cleared the air on that. And I think I'm quite impressed. But the one thing I want to say is one country. Call it state, call it federal. I'm sure they can synergize, you know, come together and work for the common good of the country.
All right, many thanks for that echo before you go outside the bus. Yes, that was the exclusive.
You will pick her like this and come back.
That was the exclusive interview of the DGNLRC. I commend the Commission on the works it has been doing thus far in terms of harnessing and regulating the multi-billion naira industry. I must say that the progress thus far is, you know, it's been
very
awesome, and I hope to see more progress from the Commission, and of course a lot of engagement when it comes to the Nigerian youth on the local games to aspire to do more. And I must say that this one was laudable. I wish him the very best in all that he's doing, and of course in all of this I pray for him in terms of longevity in soundness of health. I think that we have to put it right to this segment, so let's dive straight to the trending story, what affects us all, guys, in terms of what caught our attention on all the trending story. I think the first trending story that caught our attention is that of the Anglican priest that kissed or kisses.
That was
I don't know which one.
kisses.
Kisses female student in the church, and an
children.
unidentified Anglican priest has been recorded kissing some female students, which I said earlier, I think
Ghana.
that was Monica College of Education in Ghana. That me. What came to mind? Please analyze this.
Well,
what's going on in the Christendom?
A lot is going on in the Christendom that we cannot, because it's a very fragile industry.
Being Christians.
No,
go ahead.
Because it's a fragile industry, it's difficult to really pull out the truth. But however, this is the 2 cents from Real Talk with Kike. It happened in Ghana. Let's not mistake that.
Yes.
Now, whatever we operate in Nigeria might be different from what they operate in Ghana. But I want to believe that under the body of Christ and Christendom, there is unification. In the sense that even the last girl that was on that video was showing a level of restraint. I don't understand. When did kids turn to gold medal? Because even when they went to Olympic, I did not think that they brought anything home. So when the Reverend Father become a trophy giver, they'll be sharing trophy through kids. Because it starts from these little things that we cheer, that we think that it is okay for us to bypass or to overlook. It starts from there. This man has just violated their rights. But I do not know what constitution governs Ghana. If Nigeria here will know how appropriately to either send Amadioha, I'm sorry, but then, because we need to protect our young girls. It starts from, some of these girls will continue to live with that torture in their head, like they were forced to do it. Now, how then do we move forward? Somebody that, I remember when we were growing up, when they say, I'll report you to pastor. Pastor, it's like the end of the world, that everybody you have casted, everybody have known your sin. It's just like going for confession. Then even our girls are not trusted with the so-called religious leaders. But because it happened in Ghana, I will reserve the comment.
All right, reserving your comment. I think that people have been committing murder in the name of religion, because I can't understand how a pastor or a priest in the name of religion will be kissing his students. So as we can see, you know, it's a bit disturbing, and especially we could see that, you know, the student himself or ourselves was resisting that, but he was forcing himself on the poor child, on the poor girl. So for me, if you ask me, I feel that the parents and herself, I mean, the students should, you know, should use this opportunity to sue the priest and sue the church, because this needs to be addressed. So, you know, I must also, I don't know if you noticed that while this video was showing as well, you can see the audience cheering on. And I kept on asking, what are they cheering on? This is extremely disturbing. This is the problem that I must tell you that we are facing right now in this country. You know, when it comes to I would view, or I would turn our pastors or our GOs, so to speak, into a mini God. You know, this is the problem that we face in the country, where you will see a wife will respect the pastor, but you will get them, the wife will get them and cannot respect the husband. These are part of the problem. Teaching them, you know, and you said that this is in Ghana. I disagree with you, because it's happening in Nigeria. You will see a lot of clips online where you see that, you know, pastors or the priests are teaching people sexual positions and are saying that what? You know, I'm sorry, I don't want to use certain words online, but I feel that this is common when it comes to Pentecostal churches. Okay. Even as much as, hold on my sister, even as much as when it comes to the priests, when it comes to pastors, I feel the moral decadence in this country is horrible. This is exactly the action that you were expecting to see in me when I was interviewing Larry Bajadamila. He's a gentleman. You don't expect me to react like this, because this is worse than this. And I must say, right, you know, today you've seen a lot of people criticize Big Brother. We don't see things like this from Big Brother Nigeria, for at least from the little clips that I'm watching.
No, let's not go there.
I am just saying.
Okay.
I am just saying. Okay. But we can see a lot of all of these things happening from the church. The church that is supposed to give some level of correctional body of human behavior. They are the ones that are actually, you know, it's a sad one for me when I saw this. And I think that when it comes to churches, you know, we expect moral decorum and uprightness that has come to fail all of us from the foundation. It is pretty sad. It is really pretty sad. You know, they see Jesus, or they read Jesus as I don't even know how to put this, but I think that who exactly are we even following?
Who exactly is doing us?
I'm just tired of this. I'm really tired of this.
We're
really
dousing one
but
down.
Let me allow you go, Efo. What's your take on this?
I think that was absurd. Who does that? A lot of people doing the work of the gospel.
Absolutely.
Trust me.
Yeah.
They do not.
How
do you have children who are all maxed up with a nose mask?
Obeying.
And you tell them to take it off.
Disobey.
And you kiss them. One after the other. One mouth kissing different mouths. That man certainly has a problem. There's no doubt about it.
You will see Catholic Church today. The Catholic Church, you see.
It is absurd. It is absurd. This is the worst I have seen. And you're talking about the audience cheering on. Yeah. What audience? Children. They were children. Yeah, children. So they were excited. What do they know? I know.
In this case, look at their age
category. Look at them jumping up. Children.
Looking at their age category.
This is absurd.
All right, moving on. There's another second trending story that caught our attention, and that is of the missing 21-year-old found as a maid at the police station. You know, we have a lot of problems. Probably not they finish you.
Well, I've been like bicycle. You know, they take to start
our voices. I know
we
that
can stop.
You were the one that brought this on. What's your take when you saw this?
Yeah,
what's your submission?
When I saw that, when I saw the news, it came to me as a shock initially, and I took time to read it out, and I discovered that it was a 21-year-old girl who was actually apprehended during her birthday party because it is claimed that she, an hip-hop member that is wanted, was actually at her party. Esther, I don't know where attendee and attendants have become crime. I mean, anybody can attend your party. It doesn't even mean that she knows this guy, hook, line, and sinker. But now, judging
maybe the guy came with somebody else.
Even if you claim that is her friend, claim. The guy is not her family member. Then because you want to apprehend the guy, you're using her as a soft bait. Who does that? And it is this same, it is under the explanation that it is Abba Kyari's boys under the IRT department that had perpetrated this.
What does Abba
don't know.
Kyari have
I
to do
honestly
with
don't
it?
know.
That's the tag. That's just the tag that it was Abba Kyari. Maybe out of still witch hunting Abba Kyari or whatever. But if it was so to speak, the way it played out, a 21-year-old girl was missing. When did she leave childhood? When did she leave 18? She's just 21. 3 years after, and gone through almost 2 months being a maid. And I can imagine the kind of sexual harassment, assault that young lady must have gone through.
I'm glad that you touched on that.
I can imagine.
I was going to take that up.
I know that we are running out of time.
They need to take her for some kind of mental evaluation.
I must use this opportunity to apologize to all those who have been trying to call in. We've run out of time. I'm sorry we can't pick any calls. I know that there are a lot of comments that we would have come in from the interview that was granted earlier. But you can please drop your comments on our YouTube page and of course on our Instagram page. But quickly, let me give my submission on that. I think that there's a lot to lament on when it comes to our system today. You know, however, it gives a call to more questions, because my first question when I saw this video was the missing girl reported to be missing to the police station as when it was when it was due?
Yes.
That's number one. Do our police station have proper and accurate recording system for people that
database?
Are when it comes to offenders, when it comes to missing people, and when it comes to database of our police station networks? That's another question that came to mind. The third question that came to mind is the fact that did the parents of the girl exhaust all means to find the child? Because I feel that when it comes to things like this, I ask different people, and I think that Nigerians, we are over 200 million people. People are hardly out to say they want to look out for people, look out for people, especially when they are missing. People are quick to resign to faith, or they'll say, oh, don't blame them, or it is the system, or it's lack of good concern for woman life and the lives and all of that. But did you go to the police station to report in terms of robbery, in terms of, you're missing child, or pay some ridiculous, or sometimes you find out that when they even go to report this police station, I'm sorry, I know that my father is a police person, but we are on real talk here, and I must say it as it is, because there are times that you will go to this way, they will be asking you to pay some ridiculous amount of money, or even pay petrol for their patrol van or vehicle, and the likes. You can go to police station today and report and that an accident
they even
occurred,
treat it with so much levity.
And on the eye when you realize that they make it look as if you are the culprit yourself. That is the reason why you find out that sometimes when things happen, people cannot go to the police station to say that they want to go and do something. Do you understand? So are they really exhausted all means when all of this was ongoing? It's part of the question that came to mind. But I feel that
but it said that her family searched for her in hospitals, mortuaries, but they didn't find her, because sometimes the police can also be lackadaisical in the sense that,
but the question,
maybe she go boy house. Have you looked for her?
The question, what are the circumstances of the girl in particular? However, we need to pay more attention when it comes to human life. And the aspect that I must say that all of us, we are all in it together. We need to be more conscious of our environment and the people in authority, whether in police force or whatever authority that you think that they are in terms of due diligence for the sake of humanity. When you are putting them in the place of power, when you are putting them in the place of position where they have to be empathy for your fellow woman. Therefore, quickly, what's your take on it?
I think when it comes to the police force, there has to be an overhaul, complete overhaul. These people have to be examined mentally. How do you lock up a 21-year-old child? How do you do young adults? How do you do that? And the parents, let's give them the benefit of the doubt that they actually made a report to the police that their ward was missing. We give them the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not sure if you guys are aware that today is World Humanitarian Day, and this is how the people who are supposed to be protecting us.
Exactly.
How they choose to pay us.
Kike, the one point I was going to make, have you not noticed the Nigerian police force, they always defend the indefensible? Who does this? You use her as a maid, you use her as probably a sex slave. Do you know how many of them would have probably slept with her? There's certain things that cannot be said now until proper investigation if it ever gets concluded.
All right, so on that note, we've come to the end of another episode of Real Talk with Kike, and I must say that indeed we had an awesome show on today's edition of Real Talk with Kike, courtesy our NRRC for the interview, and I must say thank you to him again. We can also use this opportunity. I must say that we should come together, or would I say that I wish him well when it comes to the growth of the nation and the development of the youth. Again, you should all know that my co-hosts, you guys have been awesome, and they are always quick to give their thought-provoking submission. Thanks for keeping it real, guys.
Yeah,
You're welcome, Kike.
Goodbye. My name remains Kike Lomato now, and you are?
And
I am F4. Bye.
Bye.
See you again on
Keep being
Tuesday.
good citizens. Love each other.
Keep being real.